Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to the TCP's forum today on various destinations in Northern Mindanao. Today, we will be talking about Northern Mindanao, balancing the new normal. And before anything else, we'd like to greet our co-board member and ex-Link boss, Orly Ballesteros, a belated happy birthday yesterday. Sir, Chief, happy birthday to you. And we would like to welcome everyone here, and we hope to have a good and productive discussion this afternoon. Oftentimes, we sort of miss some areas of the country because of some other popular destinations, but definitely Northern Mindanao is someplace where we can visit and Hi, I'm back. Sorry, my internet cut off. So this afternoon, we'd like to start off by introducing our panel of very distinguished speakers this afternoon. We would like to first introduce a very good friend of ours, Miss Regional Director May Elaine Unchuan, Director of the Department of Tourism, Region 10. Good afternoon, RD May.
Good afternoon, Sir Jojo, and also good afternoon to our distinguished guests, and of course also to Sir Orly, our dear Kohara President and TBB Board Member, Mr. Bong Pelaez, also our distinguished businessman and one of our tourism advocates in the region, Mr. Elpidio Paras, and our partner, Attorney Jeffrey Saclot, the Tourism Officer of Misamis Oriental, and also the representative or Association of Tourism Officers of the Philippines here. Thank you very much for
All right.
inviting me, and it's an honor to be here.
All right. We'll get back to you in a while, RD May, as we introduce our other speakers. Next up, we want to welcome Attorney Jeffrey Saclot, who is the Provincial Tourism Officer, Province of Misamis Oriental. Good afternoon, Attorney Jeff.
Good afternoon, Sir Jojo, and of course to my fellow resource speakers this afternoon, and to our viewers. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have one of our board members also in the Tourism Congress of the Philippines, the ever distinguished and handsome engineer LP Paras. Sir LP, good afternoon po.
Yeah, magandang hapon sa inyo, President Jojo, Director May, Attorney Jeff, and my kumpare Bong, for the opportunity to be able to do some sharing in this webinar that's very important for our region of Northern Mindanao.
Thank you, Sir LP, and we'd be interested to find out and know of your We want to know what's on your mind in a little while. And the last but not the least, the president of Cagayan de Oro Hotel and Restaurant Associations, or Kohara, and also our representative, one of our representatives to the Tourism Promotions Board. I would like to introduce Mr. Eduardo Bong Pelaez. Good afternoon, Sir Bong.
Good afternoon, Joe, and to my fellow panelists. No? I will not introduce you individually kasi yung internet dito paloko-loko. Ano? Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. No? So thank you, Joe, for allowing us to be featured, the Cagayan de Oro. Thank
Of
you so
course,
much.
a pleasure. Your presentation, Sir Bong. So right now, without further ado, we would like to get to RD May. If you have your presentation ready, please take the floor.
Yes. Thank you very much, Sir Jojo. I would like to present our situationer in three parts. The first is just a little glimpse of what we have done in 2019 and what our plans were pre-COVID. The second part is just a peek at what happened in COVID. And the third part will be what our future plans are moving forward. So last 2019, we had um, tourist arrivals that were very very positive. We had 2.73 million domestic tourists, and we had 60,541 international tourists, and we had tourism receipts totaling to 13.2 billion. It's a very positive year. Next slide, please. For our DOT 10T major milestones, some of our milestones were the following. We launched our dive tourism, which was our new product. Can you just click through the pictures? Just a very quick glimpse of what we have done. So we had a Kamigan Dive Festival, which was participated in by about 500. We had also our dive explorations, and we participated in major dive programs. Now we also have the river cruise tourism that is in Misamis Occidental. We took a lot of groups there. We had tour operators, international tour operators, and we also recently had the Russian ambassador and some other foreigners that have been coming to see and to market the place. So we also had our first in Mindanao, a hot air balloon tourism in Manolo Fortich, Bukidnon. And we were intending this occasion to really spur the growth of tourism in Bukidnon and the other parts of the region. And also because Bukidnon is a focus because it will have hopefully the international airport in 2 years' time. Okay, so that's very successful. The next one was supposedly May 1, but then COVID happened. So we also had our mountain tourism, very popular because we have three ASEAN heritage sites in the region, and so we launched Climb Camiguin. We also launched community guiding, very successful community mountain guiding enterprise in the region. So we empowered a lot of communities, especially the IPs. So we also had our farm tourism and faith tourism. Farm tourism being one of the flagship projects of our secretary. We also had our tourism circuits, our domestic and international marketing promotions and events, and we did initiate our domestic and international tour exchanges. Next slide, please. Now, when COVID happened, this is what happened. This is based on some of our surveys. From March to May, we lost about 104 billion in revenues, and we had about 13,462 displaced workers. So there was practically no tourism arrivals or activities, and most of our TREs were closed. So we also had to give up our budget for the Bayanihan Fund. So now we only have about 7.2 remaining for operations, which will hopefully be augmented by our TRRP, or our Tourism Recovery Program. Okay, next slide, please. Now, we did consult our TREs and also our LGUs and our other stakeholders. And we did have several uh, suggestions for the action plan. Of course, we're embracing the new normal. According to the IATF guidelines, we operate at 50% capacity. These are in compliance with minimum health standards and other regulations. This is really to ensure the safety and health of our guests and, of course, our frontliners and our workers. So we suggested also proper dissemination of information to allay fears. This includes our social media plan to show how our TREs are preparing and are implementing our health standards to ensure that our public is safe and our customers and our tourists are safe in their establishments. This will include the hotels and, of course, restaurants to show that their food preparations are according to standard. Of course, since we know that international travel is not going to be revitalized in the next couple of months, we plan to do the domestic tourism promotions. And then, of course, we are helping our TREs as best as we can with several things, financial relief packages through loans and support. And then we will focus on promoting local businesses and local products. And then our training division has prepared capacity building programs. And of course, we are in constant communication with our stakeholders who we really want to help so that we can rise up from this. Now, next slide, please. Now, our Secretary Bernadette Romalupuya. Next slide, please. Our secretary has formulated a tourism response and recovery program to also make our industry rise above this crisis. So there were several points. First is secured livelihood and adequate social services. This is for protection of our visitors and tourism workers. Sustained business operations and ensuring business survival. Appropriate infrastructure, building back better to adapt to the new normal. This includes our health standards also, as well as other support infrastructure. Enhanced marketing and product development. This is to restore the industry confidence. And timely and efficient institutional support. Of course, this is much needed. We are going to build stakeholder capacity and also our department. And very important is effective strategic communication. So this tourism response and recovery program is undergoing a lot of consultation with our stakeholders and our officials, and of course the TCP, and everybody is a part of this. And hopefully, when we do finalize this and get funding for this program, then we will able to speed up the revitalization of our tourism industry. So uh, as of now, we are really working very hard to make sure that we all together heal as one after this pandemic. So again, thank you very much, and again, it's an honor to be here.
Thank you very much, RD May, for that very informative presentation. We will have questions for you after a while, so we invite you to stay and listen to our other presenters as well. So we'll get back to you in a while.
Thank you.
Next up, thank you. Next up, we have Attorney Jeffrey Saclot, who is the Provincial Tourism Officer, Province of Misamis Oriental. This is something that's very interesting. I've never been to Misamis, so please tell us what's going on and how are we doing right now, Attorney Jeff?
Yes, Sir Joe, you should come and explore Miss Or. Now, my presentation focuses on three parts. Number one, the important features of the province of Misamis Oriental. Number two, the challenges that we have been experiencing at this time of the COVID-19 crisis. And number three, the economic recovery plan of the province insofar as the tourism industry is concerned. Now, can we start with the first slide? The province of Misamis Oriental is considered as the gateway to Northern Mindanao, with Laguindigan Airport providing major access catering to people who travel from Luzon and Visayas to the whole region and vice versa. Now with the FIVIDEC, Yun mo ng first slide. With the PVDEC as the biggest economic zone of the Philippines, of which one of the key features is the Mindanao International Container Port that provides access to sources of raw materials from any point in Mindanao, Misamis Oriental can be considered as an agri-industrial hub of southern Philippines. Governor Yevgeny Vicente B. Imano, who is now in his last term, has chosen actually tourism as his flagship program. And then within his 3 terms, the provincial tourism development for the province has already been put in place, setting the direction of Misamis Oriental in terms of tourism development from 2013 to 2023. Priority programs include tourism infrastructure projects. Some have already been implemented and others due for implementation. The Provincial Tourism Department was actually created in January 2018 with an initial office appropriation of 36 million pesos, excluding that for infrastructure component. And this year, the office has more than 56 million budget, no, constituting payment for personal services, MOE, and capital outlay. And the implementation of infra projects amount to 25 to 35 million pesos. Next slide, please. Can we go to the next slide? Yes. In March of this year, the Provincial Tourism Office would have started implementing series of projects and programs, if not for the public health emergency that has gotten in the way of our preparations. So domestic flights as well as sea travels, except for carriage of cargoes, were suspended on March 15, 2020, bringing about zero arrival and immensely affecting economic activities. Next slide, please. Can we proceed to the next slide? Tourism-related establishments were also temporarily closed as early as March 24 upon the implementation of the general community quarantine in the province, which lasted until May 31, 2020. Next slide, please. March, April, and May were supposed to be the peak months of tourist arrivals owing to summer and observance of Holy Week, Misamis Oriental being a major faith tourism destination because of the Divine Mercy Shrine, no, Our Lady of Lourdes Shrine, among others. And add to that is the world-class water park Seven Seas, which would have drawn a huge combined number of tourists from different parts of the country. Next slide, please. The community quarantine resulted in loss of income among tourism enterprises and eventually jobs among a significant number of their employees. So we have an estimated province-wide income loss since March 15 of 171,801,504.09, and estimated number of tourism enterprise employees who lost their jobs, 1,677. Next. While public transportation was already allowed during the GCQ period, it was only until the transition to MGCQ that commercial flights would be allowed. But before the resumption of operation at the Laguindingan Airport, CAAP would make sure the provincial government would have no issues on arrivals and departures of passengers. So on the basis of the tourism policy of Governor Bambi Imano, and upon his instruction, the province, through Dr. Jerry Kalingasan, our Provincial Task Force for COVID-19 chairperson, wrote a letter to DOTR Secretary Arthur Tugade expressing the province's concurrence as regards the said resumption. Next slide, please. So thereafter, regular commercial flights have started resuming. The first to carry out the same was Cebu Pacific on June 3, 2020. So the implementation of the MGCQ also paved the way for tourism enterprises to open at 50% capacity, subject to certain regulations as imposed by concerned agencies like DOT, DTI, and LGUs, among others. Next slide, please. Misamis Oriental recovery plan includes infra projects to be implemented, including tourism projects such as the 25 million worth botanical garden project that is seen to provide employment opportunities. Next slide. Also, moratorium on the payment of real property tax. The ordinance due for approval provides that no penalty will be charged for late payment of tax for the first 2 quarters of this year, which tax may be paid next year or on a staggered basis within this year, whichever is convenient to the taxpayer. Next slide, please. And assistance of tourism offices and facilitating compliance by businesses offering accommodation services with the DOT Administrative Order 2020, the 002 tourist prior to resumption of operation are also readily available. Moreover, LGUs ensure that there are no unnecessary delays in the approval of the plan on implementing minimum health standards proposed by tourism enterprises. Next slide, please. Um, the present health crisis has actually prompted us to adopt workable measures under the new normal, which would include the need to capitalize on digital technology by partnering with service providers such as PLDT, Smart, and maximization of social media platform in the aspect of marketing and promotion. So this webinar, as an example, is an interesting method, no, an effective method to employ in this present time through which stakeholders continue to interact with one another and be informed of the latest developments in the tourism industry. So that concludes my presentation, Sir Jojo. Thank you very much.
Very much, Attorney Jeff. Very interesting points you made there. I have some questions for you afterwards. So thank you for that. Okay, now we go to our next speaker, and one of my idols actually, si Attorney LP Paras. Sir LP, please go ahead.
Thank you, President Jojo, and thank you to our partners for being here in the webinar. Uh, we were about to make an announcement. We were about to time it with this webinar that we were going to open next week on Independence Day. It's like we're celebrating the independence also from COVID. But unfortunately, with the announcement of Malacanang and IATF yesterday regarding the restrictions for 21 and below and 60 and above of age, we decided not to push through with the opening of Dahilayan. The Dahilayan has really become a world-class tourism destination. My siblings and I, have really made our parks, prepared our parks for, the onset of the summer. But, history now behind us, we really have suffered from the effects of the COVID-19 crisis. Especially like, the water park, between the water park and the Hilayan, there, number of employees that are temporarily out of work, at least 500, no, just with our two destinations. It's really tough for us because we were not able to benefit from any of the uh, amelioration program from both the Dole and SSS. No, however, we put that behind us. We have really put money back in refurbishing and maintaining our facilities, and putting in more attractions. We were about to launch the Philippines' first mountain coaster. This is a ride that we imported from Austria, and it's, I think, one of the few in the ASEAN region. And it was going to be a landmark, you know, attraction for the Hilayan. But however, under these circumstances, we have reset our launch. We were looking forward to launching on June 12, but it's not going to happen anymore. We have also prepared our facilities to comply with the safety and health standards and guidelines required by both the IATF, the DOT, and the LGU. We have already prepared, special registration booths so that each and every one that comes to the park will pass through a process by which we would be able to acquire data for contact tracing also and identification, as well as the hand washing and disinfection facilities we have prepared for them, no, and also the enhanced social distancing infrastructure. We have had to build some physical barriers to put people on a not only a distance of at least 6 feet between each other, but we will make them line up and they will have to fill out forms, uh, either online or at the registration counters before this screening process will ensure and give confidence to our guests, no, that we are doing the right thing to keep them safe while in the park. So we were looking forward to launching this next week, but we will have to reset it. Um we are looking forward really that to just catering for domestic tourism. We do not have any intent of waiting for the international tourists to come. But I guess this will be a good proving ground also, because if we had opened, or we could have opened on the 12th, that would be a good proving ground for the other tourism businesses also that are looking at us. So we were kind of excited about it, but we got disappointed when we got the news that there are new guidelines. However, we will put that behind us, and we will know. This also gives us time to ensure that we can almost 100% comply with the new regulations. I got a copy of the you know the health and safety regulations from DOT. It's quite intense. There'll be a lot of things that we'll have to take care of. But I think at the end of the day, this is the good for our customers. So that's why better safe than sorry. So again, I'd be open to questions later. But thank you TCP, thank you Orly for this opportunity to be able to share with you and everyone else.
Great. Thank you very much, Sir LP. As usual, uh, I like listening to you because you're always positive. Kahit na may problema sa harap natin, you still find a way to make positive ideas out of the negative obstacles in our way. So, as with the other speakers, I will also have some other questions for you at the end of the presentation. So, thank you, sir. Um, Now, of course, to our next speaker, we are very interested also to find out what's happening in Cagayan de Oro. So we would like to give to you now Sir Bong Pelaez, who is, as I mentioned earlier, the president of the Cagayan de Oro Hotel and Restaurant Association, or Kohara, and also the president of Mapawan Nature Park. Sir Bong, please.
Thank you, Joe. Um, anyway, I'd like to empathize with LP. I knew him during our single days in the 70s until our children and her children and our grandchildren are always together now. So anyway, Kohara was organized in 1966 by a gentleman who became our first president, along with a group of women, hotel and restaurant now. The Department of Tourism sits with us in the board since 1966. It's a nonprofit organization that seeks to promote the hotels and restaurants of Northern Mindanao. The 24 years of existence can be attributed to the owner's camaraderie in sharing best practices, problems, and offering solutions. Currently, the total membership comprises 38 hotels, 18 restaurants, and 37 associates from private and community schools. Every year, we have this kumbira as a Buwani term for celebration, held during the city fiesta for 3 days. And we partnered with the well-known chefs and hotel executives from Manila who helped us organize this kumbira since 1996. Next slide, please. Now, Quara's corporate social responsibility, again, was tested this year when we responded, providing lunch packs to the medical team in the government hospitals and the Philippine National Police manning checkpoints. For 1 month, a total of 4,267 packed meals were distributed. All donations were prepared by member hotels and restaurants. We were able to solicit from non-members for food ingredients and food containers. Kohara was also able to donate 2,000 pieces surgical caps to our medical frontliners. Other members also donated directly to the frontliners. Next, please. And okay, let's talk about the issues and opportunities. Primary concern will always be the health and safety of the owners, employees, and guests. Majority of our members have temporarily closed because of the following reasons. One is low reservation and foot traffic, high operating costs of putting the protective distancing, the disinfection and cleaning costs, the personal protective equipment, the mall rental issues, and under the modified general community quarantine yesterday, the IATF announced that 21-year-old below and the 60-year-old above, that includes me and LP, are restricted from going out of our homes. How can family do their bonding under this restriction? Well, the opportunities are repairs and maintenance and disinfection of the property. Kohara have dedicated a Viber group with the different government agencies. We have a direct link with DOT, with DOLI, the PNP, and the LGUs. And we have a very active Kohara members Viber group where the members share their ideas, best practices, IATF informations, updates. This is something, it keeps on updating, so we're overloaded with updates. And frustration on IATF guidelines that are not sound to the hotel and restaurant business operations. My fourth slide. Okay, challenges. Regular employees are scared to go back to work on the suspicion that your co-workers might be asymptomatic carriers of COVID-19. And how do you market and promote that your establishment is COVID-free, Or they might say it's free COVID, But that's the challenge when you say we are COVID-free. Group bookings and buffet meals are not allowed. And this is where you make money, the buffet meals. Coping with the 50% capacity regulations. Restaurants have to invest on food safety trainings for all the employees. In summary, with all the challenges, how can you make a reasonable profit to afloat, just to afloat your business? Kung lugi lang, magpa-lockdown, knockdown ka na lang. That's our new slogan. And on my last slide, the new normal sustainability requires pivot to digital technology. Marketing and promotions through social media, marketing and promotion through social media, conduct of meeting through Skype, Zoom, Google Meet, and other forms. Embrace innovation and the digital transformation of global tourism. And food online application. We have one local homegrown enterprise. It's called Street Buy. And we also have Food Panda, but again, they charge 35% service fee and grab food and compliance to the IATF protocols. My final note, in every risk, there are opportunities. Higher risk, higher opportunity. No risk, no opportunity. Children of the owners are now helping in the family operations and some of their own ready-to-eat meals and home delivered. I see the growth of the small and medium-sized family establishment as a personalized niche market. Lastly, I'll talk about Kohara's final note. Please take note of this. Please include in your prayer that as we restart our business operations under this new normal, the national agencies, the IATF, will have proper coordination in setting guidelines that is clear, practical, coordinated, implementable, and less burdening to the most affected economic sector, and that is the hospitality and travel industry. That ends my report, Joe. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sir Bong. Amen to that last statement that you had. It's something that we totally agree with. And the more unified our rules and regulations are, probably the easier for us to get back on track. So, very good discussion. So, we have all our speakers back. Ano yun? Parang may TV yatang nakabukas. Uh, anyway, I, that's me. I'm hearing my voice. Sorry. So, questions for this afternoon. Sorry. I'd like to direct the first question to RD May. Seeing now that there are already slight movements in that some of our airports are starting to open, although very limited. Uh, when the time comes that Northern Mindanao or your area starts to open up, how do you plan to position the region as far as selling it or to promote it to tourists? What would you tell them to entice them to come? You're muted, I think. I think you're muted, RD May. Ay, nawala.
Okay, there you go. Can you
There.
hear me, sir?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the public really just needs to know if the industry is ready, and we, of course, the first thing before we do the promotion is to really uh, talk to our stakeholders regarding all of these issues and to clear everything out. But of course, the order of the secretary to focus on domestic tourism promotions is really the most logical thing to do. And fortunately, since we're not an international gateway, we have been. This is our direction from the start. So,
Mhm.
like I said, last year we have been preparing for our new products, no, launching of our new project, and fortunately even the local market has responded very well, but right now of course we still need to reassess what we have given the new normal, but still the positioning will still be with regards to what we have showed you, our dive tourism, our mountain tourism, our farm tourism, cultural, of course, the culinary tourism is also one thing. No, but when I was dialoguing with our industry partners, also, I think we need to build confidence first. Confidence sa public that our TREs, our restaurants are adapting to the new normal, and that we the health of the public is utmost. So then I think after that phase where we can build the confidence and we can do the tour exchange already and all the other activities for promotion.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I think a key is reassuring visitors that your place will be safe. There's a relative amount of assurance na uh, the probability of getting the virus is not as much. Those are things that I think we really have to prepare for. On a side note, sayang lang because the Tourism Congress, the board was planning to do a board meeting sana with Sir LP. And well, I hope the invitation is still good, sir. But sayang, we were so much looking forward to that. And it's a place that I haven't been to, as I mentioned earlier. And I know, RDMA, you've been convincing me to come so many times already. Because baka pagtapos na ako sa Tourism Congress, then I'll have the time to go.
You're
Hopefully.
most welcome, Joe, and the TCP board. No? We
Mhm.
actually have been preparing for it.
Yeah.
Repair na namin yung pool namin eh.
We'll get there one of these days. My next question to Attorney Jeff, you mentioned that Lagindingan is already open, no?
Yes, Sir Joe.
Yeah. Now that it's open, I'm sure some of your stakeholders are already sensing na people may start to go back already or to start visiting. What is the general sense now of your stakeholders in this, or is there optimism? Is there pessimism? What is the general feeling there right now?
Of course, we're optimistic that we can get back on track. And, the resumption of the flights gives us hope that we will be able to bounce back. But we are banking actually on the support also of the DOT, no, and the IATF by giving us clear guidelines as to the travel of people, because we are still faced with a challenge, no, regarding the travel, because guidelines say that it's 50% operating capacity for tourism related enterprises, and yet they are not allowing leisure related travels. So there's a conflict between the two aspects, no, and we would like to really lobby with DOT and the IATF, and for them to be able to come up with clear guidelines regarding the travel of tourists. So that's one of the biggest challenges that we're facing right now. But definitely, Misamis Oriental being a tourism-oriented province, we are open to embracing, of course, the new normal.
Mm. Okay, very very good to know that kahit na naghihirap tayo ng konti ngayon is that there's still that optimism. And again, I agree with you. I think there really needs to be uniform guidelines for everyone para malinaw. And that is something that we have to work on. Remember, this is an unprecedented event that we're going through, and as RD May would probably agree with me, first time lahat to, so we have to do trial and error in some of our processes. But we learn, and of course, the Tourism Congress also works with the DOT, so uh, to represent our stakeholders. So we will definitely work on those concerns with you. Sir LP, I like the idea you mentioned kanina na you're sort of being proactive in trying to get uh, people to your parks, no, to your facilities na uh, alam naman natin when it comes to maybe theme parks or nature parks, the major problem there or the holdback would be yung pagpipila ng tao, queuing for lines. And I like what you mentioned that there's an option for them to parang pre-register beforehand. So what made you think of that? And number two, do you think that it's something that a lot of the people who would want to go take advantage of? I
Yeah,
mean, mean to say that
yeah,
they will use.
yeah, Joe. We're actually looking at the best practices from the theme parks, not only in the region, but like Disney, Six Flags, because
Mhm.
the Mario and I of EK are both members of the International Amusement Parks and Attractions group, no?
Mhm.
And we're looking at their best practices, and we found out that they are doing this now. Most of the transactions is no contact.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We'd rather have. We're actually encouraging people. Well, when we launch this, if
Wala
when we
naman yung ano
can,
eh.
we will do an
Tricycle.
online registration for those intending to go to our parks, because we want them to be pre-screened in a way. At the same time, all their contact information, which will, of course, will keep their privacy to comply with the privacy guidelines of the government. But the thing is, it will be an important tool once there is an incident. We cannot say 100% now we can be COVID free, because there are many asymptomatic carriers moving
Yes.
about. And, this is what we want to avoid. But in case that happens, we can fall back and check our registry, and we should be able to follow up immediately and do contact tracing and help not only the victims or the patients, but also the government. We can share this information with the government.
Yeah.
So yung we are encouraging our customers to also book online so that the less contact with money, for example, or even credit cards to be presented at the gate. What we want to do is have like a pre-screening process muna before they line up to get their thermal checks, to do their hand washing, disinfection, and foot disinfection before they
Mhm.
enter the park. And we also intend to in the beginning maybe give away mask, protective face mask for whoever
Yeah.
forgot their face mask. So we're trying to source now cheaper, but reliable mask suppliers, so that we should be able to make sure that anyone that enters our park fully comply with the safety and health guidelines.
Okay. Ang galing. I'm just amazed that you're able to do this and then talagang complying with the with safety protocols. No? Nawala ulit si Sir Bong. Are you there?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, napaloko-loko nga tong internet namin dito eh.
Okay lang yan. Sir Bong, you in your presentation you mentioned that Kohara works very closely with the various government agencies, no? And
Yes.
I just wanted to find out kasi it's very hi. And at this time, I think it's very important that stakeholders and the government work really close together to ensure the recovery of tourism. How has the experience been so far for you? How closely knit are you with as far as working with the government agencies there?
Okay, we're working really closely with the DOT. Since 1996, we already partnered with DOT. But ngayon, we have to deal with DTI, with DOLE, maraming agencies na we're very comfortable sana kung we can just work with DOT, but because ito nga, interagency, kung minsan magulo, no? Um, well, we're very comfortable with DOT, no question about that.
Okay. So ano naman, cohesive naman ang
Yes.
relationship. Kasi it's very, yun na nga I think at this day and age, at this time, it's very important for us to be working together. No? So, RD May, there is a phone-in question or a chat-in question for you from Noli Arguelles. Sabi niya, the industry is readying each property following the DOT guidelines and with the DETI as well. Based on the guidelines, Section 9E, kitchen staff must be provided with PPE. Will this mean our chef will wear those PPEs? Please note that the kitchens are not air conditioned, so parang they're also worried about the health and safety of their kitchen staff. So baka concern niya baka himatayin yung chef tsaka yung ibang kitchen staff pag naka-PPE.
Okay, yeah. I know how that feels, no, Sir Jojo, because I've
Yeah.
been in several types of PPEs over our role as ano reception committee ng ating mga LSIs and OFWs. And yes, it's really hot. It actually feels like a sauna, no. And I think this is guidelines from DTI, no. As a matter of fact, this morning, kasi nga iba-iba yung merong guidelines ng DOLE, merong guidelines ng DTI, meron tayong guidelines natin, and syempre yung IATF pa. So a lot of people have been asking us questions. That is why this morning the directors of DTI and DOLE were here, and we were actually discussing a way to unify the guidelines, no? And there's a lot of questions talaga, especially with the yung mga sa IATF guidelines, which we are using as like parang our Bible ngayon, no, for all government processes. And of course, we recognize the fact that we should be responsive to the tourism industry, especially because we're the hardest hit also. And more than regulation, I think we also need some sort of advisory guidelines from the agencies, no, and this is not more of a regulatory hat that we should be putting up, rather an advisory hat and a helping hat, no. So that's why initially when we had our meeting, we are trying to formulate as we speak the guidelines, the unified guidelines, and also perhaps a schedule for a technical advisory visit, so we can also respond to concerns like this. And these are really valid concerns that will affect us, aside from the uncomfortable thing that this will bring to us. This is also an added expense to our stakeholders, and concerns like this really need to be addressed immediately prior to opening. So yes, we are going to propose those unified guidelines, and also that the technical advisory visits. And we are going next week to submit to the IATF for endorsement also. So we will be working on all of these issues also. So hopefully, after this webinar, we will be getting more issues that we can also elevate to our group and to the IATF.
Yeah. Thank you, RD May. I think, like I mentioned earlier, no, talagang trial and error tayo ngayon. As much as we try to be proactive about a lot of things, there are also certain things that may escape us in the course of doing some of these guidelines. So, well, if they have any more questions with regard to that, I'm sure you'd be more than happy to take them. Mas lalo na pag clarification. Attorney Jeff, let me get back to you. No, you mentioned earlier one of the plans of your stakeholders is to shift also into digitalization. And would you have any simple examples of how you plan to do that? Any projects that you have in the pipeline as to how you would shift to digital?
Well, of course, examples would be if you're going to avail of the facilities of the accommodation, then you just have to um, uh, choose the option of having it online, no? And then, of course, the communication through electronic sending. And then it's also important that we encourage all the enterprises to employ alternative methods of paying, no, the enterprises once they avail of the services. So those things, no, we are trying to explore, so that I think it's very important that at this time of the pandemic, while we are still unsure about the cure sa virus, we have to minimize person-to-person contact. So that's more important. And we are also exploring the idea of having meetings, especially with tourism officers. We have 23 municipalities, we have 2 cities now. Instead of us having a face-to-face meeting every month, so we do it through online.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think that is a gradual shift that everyone will have to adapt later on. Sir Bong, if I may ask you, once Cagayan de Oro goes back into in online, no, as far as tourism is concerned, are there new things that we can expect in CDO once it opens?
Okay, once we open, kami mga active seniors. So when we say active seniors, like, okay, I'll be 70 this month, but I can still go 12 rounds of boxing. Now we will go on the
Okay.
bench. Now, why are you discriminating us? Now we have the money to spend for our grandchildren, for our children. No, ngayon babawalin nyo kami. How can we, do bonding with our grandkids, with our children, with our few remaining years? You know,
Yeah.
we have the money to spend, and then
Okay.
binabawal nyo kami. That's my message, no? Wag naman.
Yeah.
Yung bedridden na ng mga senior citizen, dapat wag na isama. But yung active pa rin, no? Yung healthy and kicking, wag naman i-prejudice. That's my
Yes.
advice lang.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's the same thing with my mom who's 82 pero mas takot pa akong lumabas kaysa sa kanya. Sir LP, You mentioned earlier that you plan to open on June 12, no? Um, Based on that statement, were you expecting really a lot of people to come and visit already at that time? What is the mood now of people as far as visiting all of these places?
Well, I think there's a pent up demand for locals, no, to get out of the house, a reason to do some leisure activity. But yung nga,
Mhm.
unfortunately, it's going to be restricted by IATF. Kaya talaga it put a dampener on on our expectations. But I think there will still in the first 2 or 3 months we will have to depend on local tourism. Yung mga tao na galing sa aming areas lang, immediate to our destination. Kasi that's really a big issue of moving about, even in the region. If you're coming from Misok, going to the Lanao area, going to Misamis Oriental and Cagayan de Oro, uh, Misamis Oriental, okay naman sila. But baka naman doon sa Iligan City, may problema, di ba? Kasi yung nga, depending on the intensity of the COVID, number of COVID patients, the LGU acts accordingly. So, very reactive sila sa ganon. Like we heard, like Bukidnon, for example, had another COVID patient, positive patient. This was an OFW that came in through the sweeper flights, and unfortunately was tested positive. So our governor in Bukidnon is really hell bent on making sure that his province will be safe. So he usually decides on a lockdown on if ever there's a small threat, even if it's small, nala-lockdown. So that's what we're afraid of. Yung sometimes nagkakaroon ng mga incidents na ganyan. But certainly we want to ensure our customers that it's in the outdoors actually, because of the wide open spaces, the chances of getting infected might be less than in a confined space. So that's why we were optimistic to open the Hilayan, because we have wide open spaces there. And, I think it will be easy to comply with the social distancing guidelines
Mhm.
there. In the water park situation naman, it's a different thing. It's medyo tight yan. Although it's 5 hectares, like in our case, the water park's 5 hectares. But there will be rides and like the wave pool, for example, which will be a crowd drawer. It will be quite difficult to maintain a 6 foot distance between each other. Not unless we issue a salbabida for each of them.
Yes.
So that's how we will keep it. We saw one example, extreme example in the US. One of the resorts, water resorts, they gave everyone a salbabida. Even on dry land, they were carrying a salbabida, so to make sure that everyone's within, the
Right.
desired distance. So, but yung nga, to allay the fears of everyone, all the swimming pools, if you meet international standards, are safer than your bathroom. No? So, kaya, we're optimistic that because we have employed state-of-the-art technology to ensure the safety of our guests in the water park, we should be ready in a month's time to
Okay.
open.
Okay. Mhm. RD May, I don't know if sorry if I missed it in your presentation, if you mentioned it. How is the COVID numbers in Region 10?
Well, so far, we're just still starting the testing, no, and kasi with the influx of the OFWs and our LSIs, we've been getting some positive numbers. Pero hindi pa naman tayo nag-number. I think sa Cagayan de Oro, mga 15 pa lang yata yung confirmed din, no. So
Okay.
hindi pa naman ganon. I mean, we're not naman getting anything beyond yung talagang alarming. Although yung ating mga under observation and under investigation, syempre tumataas pa rin. Pero ang dami naman, karamihan naman dun sa mga, yung iba din nag-positive, nag-recover rin naman, no? So hindi ganun ka-alarming. And in like in Misamis Oriental, no, wala naman masyado mga suspect lang, tapos na ano na naman, na-prove na naman. So zero talaga. May mga yung under investigation lang pero walang COVID case. So in
Okay.
Camiguin meron single digits lang din. So hindi naman siya
Okay.
ganun ka. Although of course the LGUs are taking utmost care, and I actually do appreciate the LGUs really being strict about this. So yung at the onset wala naman kaming naging masyadong problema. No?
Okay. Let's hope that it stays that way. Um, okay. We have a question from Mr. J. Ventura. Will you do test tours in your areas before opening to the public in the future? Would there be qualifications if ever? I don't understand the second question. Pero yung first question, will you be doing test tours in your areas before opening? Anyone care to answer that? RD?
Yes. Well, yung ano lang naman, of course, that's in the pipeline, no? Kasi even before COVID, we were really scheduling fam tours, especially because we do have new products. And I think you know this, Sir Jojo, kasi I keep on inviting all of you here. Diba? Kaya lang, yun nga, ang problema nga ngayon is syempre we gave up our funding for Bayanihan, and also, we're really just making sure that the health protocols are in place. Pero kami talagang definitely, if everything is clear and it's safe already, and the government will allow, no, government regulation will allow, yes, we will do that. But of course, again, the public health is more important ngayon, and that's why we're embracing the new normal. So we will do that when the right time comes.
Okay. Attorney Jeff, in your area, are you planning to do test tours before?
Well, yeah, well, actually, for now, no, Sir Jojo, no, ang our tourist sites are actually limited to the locals. So, kasi we are faced again with the challenge of no, not allowing leisure related travels by the IITF guidelines. But definitely, if things will be better, then we can coordinate with the regional office, no, regional of the DOT for, because that's a very good idea to explore. No, given minimum health standards that we need to observe, no, so there are actually changes, no, as far as like the taking the
Yeah.
tours, no, is
Okay.
concerned.
Sir
Sir
Bong,
John,
yeah, yes, RD May.
may I add, no? In lieu of the tours kasi, we've been talking to our stakeholders also, our tour operators and our tour guides. We plan to come up with something like a virtual tour to just whet the appetite of our tourists, the potential tourists and potential visitors. Also in line with the campaign of Secretary Berna, yung Wake Up in the Philippines. So, yun din, we plan to promote and to show what we have, para naman at least alam din nila kung ano yung pwede nilang mapuntahan in the future. So that will be part of their future plan.
Okay, thank you.
So if I may also,
Yes,
no, at this time, no, it's the role of social media is really very critical, crucial, no? Because we can actually carry out our promotions, no, through the platform called social media. So, kasi sa Facebook, no, we have actually been doing this already, and a lot of people before the pandemic started to hit our places, no, in the past, very effective yung promotion namin through, like for example, Facebook, because of what we promote, ang daming dumadating, ang daming nagtatanong about Misamis Oriental. In fact, when we started promoting through social media, a lot of the officers of the Association of Tourism Officers in the Philippines had interest in coming to Misamis Oriental, and one of the manifestations that they now know the province of Misamis Oriental was when they wanted us to host, no, the national convention, and we were able to carry that out last 2018. So social media has really helped us, no, promote Misamis Oriental.
Okay. Yeah, I think social media at this point is one of the it's proven to be one of the best marketing tools that we have. Um, Sir Bong, question lang. We all know that
Yeah.
Mindanao as a whole, di ba, there's always a stigma na Mindanao, magulo dyan, ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. What would you tell those people? What would you like to tell those people to dispel some maybe misconceptions about Mindanao? Not just about Northern Mindanao itself, but
Well,
Mindanao as a whole.
uh, kung magulo dito sa Mindanao, how about dyan sa Metro Manila, mas magulo kayo dyan, di ba? I mean, you have the traffic, you have the pollution, you have the yung packets naman dito yung gulo dito, it's just packets na resistance. But it's been blown out of proportion. But as a whole, Mindanao is still peaceful, maganda. No? We have the paradise in Mindanao, open space, clean air. No? People are very friendly. Yun lang
Yes.
ang misconception.
Yeah, yeah. Incidentally, Mindanao has always been one of my advocacies. I believe that Mindanao is really a place that has everything, no? Um, we just really have to get over some of these conceptions by other countries to
Well,
probably
Joe, can I
revise.
no?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm a Quezon City born. No?
yes.
After college, I transferred to Mindanao. No? And has been here for more than 40 years, 50 years. No? But you'll never going back to Manila. Siguro the most 2-3 days I will get out. No, it's not
Yeah.
anymore home for me. No, wala na. Metro
Mm,
Manila, you have all the problems.
yes.
I agree with that. Balik probinsya to decongest Metro Manila.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think Bob's
Good,
right.
sir.
Yeah, John,
Well,
if I may share regarding Mindanao, I've lived all my life here, although I was in Manila for at least 5 years for my college degree. But immediately after graduation, I was back in Cagayan,
mhm.
established myself here. Didn't get to practice my profession as a mechanical engineer, but I became an entrepreneur. So, dami na namin dinaanan dito na trials. But the thing is, despite all those incidents in the past that happened to Cagayan and nearby provinces, I would still think that, the safest place would still be here, because it's not only that we have made ourselves, we have become pillars in the society here, like Bong. Uh, the thing is, I don't go around with bodyguards here, no? Ever since, no? Si Bong, wala rin bodyguard except yung si Beng, eh. Di ba? But the thing is, you wouldn't have me stay in Manila for more than 2 days, you know. Even if I had been educated in Manila, Mindanao is still it. It's been ever since my parents who migrated from Luzon in the early 50s. I was born here, by the way. We found
Okay.
Mindanao to be our home. Wala na sa Pampanga.
Okay. Okay. Good. There is a not a question, but more of a statement from Mr. Bob Sobrado, the president of PATA Philippine chapter. This is probably for you, RDMA, primarily, and to our stakeholders there. No, when you launch new attractions in your area, please invite the heads of tourism organizations so we can help promote domestic tourist traffic to your area. We're willing to pay for the trip. So invitation lang talaga ang kailangan, and probably a good program for us to follow.
Actually, Sir Jojo, we've been, you know this for a fact that we've been inviting all of
Yes,
you, and
yes.
it's an open invitation. And, especially during our festivals, our different occasions, we take the opportunity also to launch our our new products. No? So sinasabay natin yan para mas maraming mapuntahan yung stakeholders. As a matter of fact, the TPB also has been constantly bringing people here, and we've really been inviting. So yes, Sir Bob, no, we're going to be very happy to invite you. May nakaschedule na actually talaga this year and next year. Alam talaga ni Attorney Jeff yan dahil as a matter of fact, we were actually planning, sila ang highlight dapat sa PTM namin ng Misamis Oriental. And, we really wanna just share what we have kasi there's so much to see, and a lot of people are surprised kasi nga because of that impression sa Mindanao. But when we bring all of these things to the forefront, our culture, our food, our attractions, ang daming naso-surprise. And fortunately, napipick up naman talaga at maraming nagpo-promote. Even yung aming diving, we were just in, yung sa FIDEX, so we just finished it. As a matter of fact, ilang grupo ng Italians, itong mga tour operators natin na local din, and other foreigners have been coming over. So naso-surprise din kami kasi minsan hindi rin namin in-expect because of the impression nga sa Mindanao. But when you really just tell the story and show them what you have, positive, very positive naman yung response. So yun nga, pre-COVID, we had so many plans, but right now kasi we have to embrace the new normal. But we really look forward when we're preparing for the time.
Freeze.
Yeah. Joy, we will keep in mind yung suggestion ng mga ni Bob at saka ng ibang tour operators, tour organization.
Yeah.
Certainly we will at the right time we will invite you guys over to Mindanao, to Region 10 in particular.
Thank you po. Very much appreciated. And the way things are going, the trends that we are seeing is that people will now be looking for destinations where they can do experiences. Yung mas experiential, hindi na lang yung hihiga na lang sa beach and they will bake for the whole day. They want to make travel fulfilling. And I think Northern Mindanao is poised to be one of the destinations that will be well sought after if we can offer those kinds of experiences for people. Okay. Well, we're still a lot of questions, but we're a bit out of time. So as we wait for RD May to come, I usually ask this of all of our guests in the past webinars, no? And this will be our last question for the afternoon. Let's start. I'll pose a question, then whoever wants to answer it now. During this whole pandemic, let's see, RD May. RD May, I was saying this is going to be the last question. But this is something that I ask of all the panelists that we've had in the past webinars, is that we all know that this time has been very trying for all of us. But I would like to ask you if there is one positive takeaway that you've had since the whole pandemic started, what would it be? And I will start off with you, ladies first.
Okay, thank you. Sir Jojo, of course, tayo naman talaga, as Catriona Gray say we see the silver lining naman talaga in everything. If there's one thing that I saw in this whole pandemic, it's really yung spirit ng bayanihan at yung Filipino brand of service na lumabas, because we've been given the opportunity to serve in our sweeper flight operations, both yung foreign and domestic tourists natin. And like what Secretary Locsin said to Secretary Berna, we've generated a lot of goodwill for our country and for our region and for our, especially sa Mindanao Island na rin, natulungan natin sila. And they have vowed, the ambassadors and the guests that we have vowed to, put in a good word for us and talk about their experience and how we have helped. And of course, yung mga nakita din ng mga foreigners, they will be, sabi nila, they will be ambassadors of our country. And also, of course, yung local stranded natin na natulungan natin dito from different parts of the Philippines. Sabi nila, babalik sila in better times. And I see yung ating willingness to help, is of course one of our biggest assets. And yung isa pa, yung nagtutulong-tulong yung government agencies, yung private sector in times of crisis. I think it's really the Filipino traits and the Filipino values that shine through. So yun yung aking pinaka-positive na nakuha and this pandemic. So, ano talaga, nakakataba ng puso na nakikita yung ating Filipino brand of service and our compassion and yung Filipino heart, kumbaga, nandyan.
Thank you, RDMA. I think that's inherent in all of us, if not most of us now. So good to hear. Attorney Jeff, what is your positive takeaway from all of this?
Yes, apart from those mentioned by RD, of course, we learn to value more the importance of a technology because at this point in time, na maganda na siya that we carry out all the transaction virtually, no, and then we connect with our stakeholders, no, through this technology. So technology really plays an important role, especially in marketing, promotions, and of course the transactions that I just mentioned.
Okay, thank you very much. Sir LP, anong positive takeaway natin dito?
Well, for me, government is really doing its best, you know. Even if hindi nabigyan ng benefit lahat, no? But, I think this is the first time that I've seen that all the government agencies are working together, trying to make, provide solutions and help to everyone. So this is really something that I think even government, which was not as organized as before, I think talagang everyone's working towards a common goal in getting rid of this crisis. Kaya yun ang positive note ko na, the government led by our president has really come to fore and, face the challenges squarely in the face and really spend, you know, gazillions of time and money to ensure the health and safety of everyone. I cannot complain about the new changes in the rules because we really have to adapt to the new normal. So those things where there must be a reason why they restricted the ones at 21 and below and those 60 and above. There are datas that we are not privy to, but I guess IATF knows better. So we'll just have to depend on our government for these guidelines. But on our own, we really have to be one with everyone. I mean, help everyone in whatever way we can. So, yun ang message ko. Mauna muna ang buhay kaysa sa pera. Di ba? Saka na lang tayo kikita ulit. Para tayong dumaan ng gera. Nangyari na eh. So, Pearl Harbor arrived. So, we have to meet those challenges and then hope that there's peace at a solution. The vaccine will come pretty soon, hopefully. So, yun lang ang
Yeah.
message ko. We have to be optimistic. Their opportunities will arise from this pandemic.
Okay, thank you, Sir LP. Sir Bong, what is your positive takeaway from all of this?
Well, the positive note on this, yung especially family-run own business in hotels and restaurants, even those not involved, we call them the child of the owners, have taken interest. They're now helping, doing their share as a family. And I think another thing is we go now regional. There's at least there was an abuse of going travel abroad. No, it was but now we need to promote our local tourism, and I think this is the positive note that we get to appreciate what we have, our local culture, and the local places that we have. That's a positive note.
Okay, and with that, thank you very much, Sir Bong. And with that, I would like to again thank all our resource speakers, panelists this afternoon, RD May, Tony Jeff, Sir Bong, Sir LP. Thank you for enlightening us and telling us more about Northern Mindanao. We hope that you would be able to join us again maybe in a few weeks for an update as to where we are by then. And hopefully there's more good news after that. So With that, thank you very much to all of you. And to our viewers, thank you. And to all our viewers, thank you very much also for choosing to spend your afternoon with the Tourism Congress. And we hope that this has been a productive session for you. And we will be planning for our next session, and we will have more words about that and announcements after a while. So, again, keep safe, keep well, and we hope to see you out there. We heal as one, mabuhay ang turismo. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sir LP,
Thank
Sir
you.
Bong,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Looking
Bye.
forward to your visit at the, in the peacetime.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Picture.
Picture
Picture.
muna.
Picture
Picture.
ba? Sure.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Let's
Picture.
have a picture. One, two. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.